Good evening and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another night of NGS. This is season 11, week 1. Tonight we are going to Division C. Last night we were in our next division. We are here tonight in Division C between the I want to make sure I say their name right. But Can't Connect Stuns. There's so many different CCS teams this season, but Can't Connect Stuns against the Cool Cats and Kittens team. Both teams are ready to go, getting in the lobby. My name is ISX. I am super excited to get another game in. I just had my own personal match not 2 hours ago, finished that one up, and now I'm over here casting in the same night for the same series. So got a little bit of energy, hopefully bringing it to the map. Let's see what these teams decide to do. Get you guys familiar. I'm pretty excited about this map pick, by the way. So Can't Connect Stuns won the coin toss. They elected to pick the map this season, meaning they got to get the first bans out of the way. They banned us out of Towers of Doom and Tomb of the Spider Queen. Cool Cats and Kittens, they responded by banning out Dragonshire and Altaric Pass. And we get to go to Garden of Terror for game number 1. Garden of Terror, new map, rotated in this season for Hanamura Temple. Hanamura Temple got the axe. Garden of Terror rotated in for season 11, and we are going to it straight away. Game number 1. Awesome map. I've never had the opportunity to cast Garden of Terror before. Both these teams are in the lobby ready to go to get this map underway. I'm just super excited to be able to cast a Garden of Terror game. So let's get this thing going. Both these teams throwing a little bit of it looks like joking banter back and forth in the lobby chat. I'll get you guys over to the draft screen when we get there. Both teams given the ready should get this underway fairly quickly. I'm super appreciative that both these teams were ready to go on time. Last night we had to know about a 20-minute delay, so it took a little bit of time. Tonight, not the story. We are getting everything going. Here we go into the draft screen right away. Again, like I was talking about last night, it's week 1. These teams may have done their homework. It looks like these teams may be a little familiar with each other. I don't know either of these teams. I recognize a couple of names of the players on each side, but that's about it. So I'm expecting tonight possibly just a straight out meta bans. Goodbye Chromie, goodbye Gazlo, goodbye Hogger. But we may see some target bans as well if these teams do truly know each other. And right away we see a Malthael banned out. Maybe there's a strong Malthael player on the side of Can't Connect Suns. I know their fans are in here watching. They may be able to point us in the right direction on which target bans these may be. But Malthael getting the ban early, one of those bruisers that likes to be able to be the anti-tank, the tank shredder. Right now we're in a meta where going that tank and bruiser combination, or maybe even double bruiser, is very strong. So Malthael is starting to see a little bit of rise in his gameplay. So Malthael getting the axe. Diva gone. Diva, one of the champions that's starting to see a little bit of less play in competitive play. Just the fact that her tank, her mech form got a little bit of a nerf to the tankiness that is able to provide, but she's still strong as ever when she's in baby diva form. She is getting basically denied on this map, and this is a pretty good map for diva. Ability to provide a lot of zoning potential with that ultimate in when the objective is online. Ana getting a ban here. The Ana Malthael combination is just outright deadly, and they decided to ban both of them. So Ana getting the ban here. Ana, one of those strong skill shot dependent healers, but also like the anti-healer, being able to put down that bionic grenade to deny any healing to the opposing team for a solid 3 or 4 seconds. So Ana not going to see play on this map here. And last ban coming out from the side of Can't Connect Stun. I want to say Can't Counterpick Stupid because that's the team I'm most familiar with the CCS, but that's not who we got tonight. We got Can't Connect Stuns as the CCS in this Division C. Uther seeing the final ban on the side of Can't Connect Stuns. And so we are waiting to see what first pick comes out of Cool Cats and Kids. There's a lot of strong picks. Like I said earlier, Chromie is on the board. This is a very good Chromie map with the amount of rotations they have to do in that jungle area. We may very well see a Chromie game coming out here strong, and boom, right off the bat, Chromie getting picked up by Cool Cats and Kittens, being able to just provide that long range massive mage damage, in addition to be able to put those slowing sands down and basically say you cannot pass, doing the old Gandalf thing where nobody can go through those sands unless they just wanted to run into a really bad time. So Chromie getting picked up here. Good response. If we're going to see it, is some heavy engage, and like literally as I'm saying heavy engage, we see May and Greymane being picked up. May just having the ability to dive all the way in on her ice slide, be able to knock back the Chromie, throw down the snowfield, be able to stun out that Chromie. And Greymane, I mean, there's not much more engaged than a Greymane, just diving in wolf form, being able to kill any target that gets crowd controlled out. Also, May having the ability to get behind the Chromie and throw into the team, and that's pretty much what they're going to try and focus. Johanna, Brightwing being picked up. Brightwing's in a pretty good spot still. Got a little bit of a nerf to her teleport her, but she's still able to put out some pretty good healing, single target healing. And then Johanna, getting the Johanna for the blinds on the Greymane, making sure Greymane isn't allowed to get as much burst damage down. A good deny against the auto attack. And now we're going to start seeing these bans come out again. Probably going to see an offlaner ban here coming out of the side of Can't Counter's Big Stupid, since those are still yet to be picked up. And we do see it, the Hogger being banned out here. Kind of that bruiser in the off lane provides a lot more dive potential. So it looks like they weren't planning on picking it up themselves since they had the next pick. I fully expected the Hogger ban to come out of Cool Cats and Kittens instead of Can't Connect Stuns, but Hogger getting banned out here as well, and no mage being shown on the side of Can't Connect Stuns, so maybe anticipating a healer or mage ban to negate what they're, a light bomb Anduin would be a very scary thing on top of that, maybe. But we do see an Alarak ban. So, okay, we see a Malthael, an Ana, and an Alarak ban. Not your conventional bans coming out of Cool Cats and Kittens. So they must know people on the side of Can't Connect Stuns who are very strong at those specific champions. Alarak being one of those, they call him melee assassins, but most of his damage comes out of the burst that he provides at range. He really doesn't smack a whole lot of people with his melee attacks terribly much. Lucio and Falstad being picked up. So we're seeing double attacker. That could be a mage Falstad. Falstad having the ability to build both ways into the mage or the auto attacker. We could see Falstad going heavy into the Q and then getting that increased distance on the Q, or increased dive distance to just dive past the sand. So it'll be interesting to see which way Falstad decides to build that out. But over time, he's going to get enough burst that he'll really start to lay down the hurt onto the Chromie. Lucio being able to provide that sound barrier to her team, or he could just go the high five and provide the unstoppable against the possible Blessed Shield combination, or whoever Zool decides to root out. And now it's looking more like the high five may be an option, with the Hanzo Dragon Arrow being a game changer with the engage. A lot of engage now being picked up on the side of Cool Cats and Kittens to round out their composition. And we do see Sonya being picked up as that final pickup for the side of Can't Connect Stun. Sonya probably going with that Leap Sonya would be my bet, being able to just jump past the Johanna and the Zool directly onto the Chromie, get on her. I mean, the Chromie and the Hanzo, that's the focus. We got a pretty good front line with that Johanna and Zool coming out from Cool Cats and Kittens. So the entire side of Can't Connect Stuns is screaming, jump in, dive, dive, dive. And so that's what we're going to see, if they can get past that front line that Cool Cats and Kittens can get. And if Cool Cats and Kittens can provide that peel for that Chromie, for that Hanzo Chromie, going to probably get a lot of time stoppage for herself, get that passive invulnerability at 13 in order to make herself not be such an easy target to pick out, and give herself time to get her team back and peel for her. So it's really going to come up to the setup. Who can get to the objective first and who can set up better, especially with these first 5 objectives. The first 2 or 3 aren't necessarily the most important, picking up the garden here. But once we get to that late game, 10s come online kind of deal, now it starts to become really important to pick up these gardens for the different teams. So here we go into Gardens of Terror. Like I said, my first time casting. It's going to be exciting to see cast a Garden of Terror game. On the side of Can't Connect Stuns, we got Wolf sitting on the Greymane. How appropriate. Brainer sitting on the Mayasaki sitting on Sonya. Slick Rub doing some B-stepping on the Lucio. How great. And Myrod sitting on the Falstad. Over on the side of Cool Cats and Kittens, we got Horvath on the, I can't see Johanna. There it is. Descolada sitting on the Chromie. Lubadium on the Brightwing. Beowulf sitting on the Hanzo. And we got Crazy for Haruno sitting on that Zool. God, these are some mouthful of names we got going on for both these teams. And here we go, getting teams in. Hanzo going for that scattering arrow build, already getting 3 stacks on it. First shot, lands 3 of those. That's fantastic for the Hanzo, getting right off the bat, trying to stack as much of this as he can. Gets a 4th one there. The sooner Hanzo can get that done, the better. His damage will start to come online, and this is an excellent map for that W build. Lots of little nooks and crannies for him to bounce him off the walls. He's now up to 6, getting this quest underway. Both teams just kind of scrapping back and forth. Chromie not going with any stacks, not committing to the Q or W, wanting to get the vision for herself. Falstad already committing to the bot lane. He should be top. due to the fact that he can fly all the way across the map and get to this objective. Maybe he'll swap that out. He's looking like he might get a little gig for Johanna here, popping the Iron Skin. Marod getting low, but unfortunately that Q will hit the wall, and Falstad able to get himself out quickly. Hopefully he goes up into this top lane since his first objective is going to be bot lane. We'll see TBD on that one. Sonya electing to be in that top lane. Maybe they're just trying to get the Sonya. She does have a little bit better split pushing potential, so they just want Sonya to be up there, be that bully against the Zool. Meanwhile, we already see this Merc camp being picked up on the side of Can't Connect Suns. This is more of the siege camp. This is what we want to see for, you know, if they're going to play it for the timer, they wanted to get it a little later, but since the objective is in this bot lane, they're electing to just get it right away, get some extra pressure in that bot lane, counteract the siege minions that will be coming out from Cool Cats and Kittens. So we're going to see a lot of camp picks up. It's really going to be interesting to see how these two teams decide to play the map. May and Zool just doing a little soak battle. Johanna sitting in here, looking like she's trying to scout out to see what's going on the side of Can't Connect Stuns. They're pinging retreat from the camp, maybe afraid that Johanna had some damage, but the damage is sitting over here picking up a second camp. And they're going to go get this third camp, hopefully on a timer. They're going to delay it just a second. They want to get it at about that 2:30, 2:40 minute mark. Meanwhile, Lucio and Greymane able to pick this up. Sonya starting up on this top camp. She has to do it rather quickly because Zool, if you recognize that Sonya's gone, can push this camp all the way and deny some experience from the Sonya player. So this could be a little bit of a loss. Sonya is electing to go back to the lane. She got one of the minions, but doesn't want to lose that experience, so goes back to defend, get the remaining of that experience. Meanwhile, the rest of the team kind of setting up. Falstad now rotating up into the top lane. He did go bribe, so maybe he's got enough stacks to get that second bribe. Sonya rotating down to get to the objective. Now they're doing the swap that we wanted to see. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, both teams kind of just getting themselves ready. Falstad will continue to provide the pressure. The longer that CCS can delay here, the better it's going to be for them, as Falstad is going to be able to provide that. Now Zool is going up and responding to this pressure in the top lane, so this is even better for CCS. Chromie getting caught out here, May diving in right away. The Brightwing trying to teleport in, gets that heal off. Greymane didn't get in quite fast enough, and so Greymane will have to back away. Chromie being saved by the Brightwing there, popping the Pixie Charm to get the increased move speed for Chromie. Lucio is going to just continually be poked out by the Chromie here. They have to zone off, and they have to zone off far. May trying to get in to keep that off, and Lucio will be able to finish it. Hanzo almost landing the scatter arrow, did not finish it in time, and everybody will just kind of run themselves away. First objective being picked up by the side of CCS. They need to get 3 in order to get the beasts to spawn in every lane. So, you know, like I said, first objective, usually not the entire thing. Wow, DBS Smiley raiding with 25. So we got 25. Thanks for the raid, bud. I appreciate it, guys, for those just joining now. This is game number 1, Garden of Terror. This is Division C between Can't Connect Stuns and Cool Cats and Kittens. We are seeing each team kind of just setting up, playing the map right now. First objective went over to the side of Can't Connect Stuns. They have the Falstad. They have the split pushman potential. Falstad now is in that top lane. Zool getting a catch there onto Lucio, root going down, but Lucio able to get the wall bounce and away. May putting down the snowfield to try and catch the Zool. Zool getting caught out here, and Falstad jumps in and gets him. Falstad has no mana, so Falstad's got to just rely on his auto attacks. Was enough to get the kill. Camp is picked up by the sides of Cool Cats and Kittens. It will provide that pressure, but this objective is going to go over to Can't Connect Stuns. They will get the second objective, and now we are sitting on 2 of 3. This third one will be very important for the side of Cool Cats and Kittens to pick up. Chromie and Johanna trying to get all that to camp. Brightwing, she does have that global play as well with her passive, so she's just going to be soaking this bot lane, trying to get her team caught up in XP. Meanwhile, Falstad sitting on no mana, just doing all that he can to pick up some of this experience. He's allowing this lane to move in, push in, just to delay the experience from the other side, but Zool recognized that, just goes in and says, you know what, I'm going to try and get some of this experience. I'm just going to break down this wall if you're going to let me. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, sorry, Sonya just went down, or Sonya just killed the Brightwing. There was a catch out from the May onto the Sonya, and that was a kill going down at a really poor time. Thankfully for the side of Cool Cats Kids, it was Brightwing. She will be able to teleport herself into the fight, and she will be online again before the objective is on, so as long as they can clear out their lanes, trying to pick up a camp, get some map pressure anyway, keep this experience gap minimal. You know, there's 2 kills experience going over, but Zool is doing his job at just getting this double soak pressure, trying to get as much experience and even out that lead that the Can't Connect Stuns has put. And they say Can't Connect Stuns, but this Mei is landing quite a few of her jumps in. Unfortunately, it's not a stun, it's a displacement. So we'll see if they're able to. Sonya's got a stun, Mei to go in and knocking back to Hanzo. This fight is for the objective here. Greymane getting it all the way out. Brightwing does get it in. Johanna trying to do everything she can just by herself. Time stands the time. Does go down by Chromie. Nobody wants to get caught in that. Johanna pushing past, putting out the blinding flare onto the remaining team. Johanna trying to get herself away. Is very low. Does not have Iron Skin up, but those sands of time does save the Johanna. Brightwing teleporting in. Greymane jumping in very deep on the Hanzo. Hanzo able to get himself away with the passive. Now Greymane's up Schitt's Creek without a paddle and does go down to the side of Can't Connect Stun. Or sorry, he was on Connect Stuns. Cool Cats and Kids. There's a lot of C's in these both teams' names. I'm going to mix them up. Hanzo getting some pretty good damage on the Mei having to get herself away. Will be able to do so. Hanzo looking like he's wanting to continue trying to pursue this as best he can, but that objective being picked up by the side of Cool Cats and Kids. Nice job going there. Twitch, you don't pronounce the S as a letter. And we do see the sides of Cool Cats and Kittens, or Cool Cats and Kittens, continuing through with their bottom siege going on here. Greymane trying to pick up this camp in the top lane, get some pressure. The objective will be in this top lane, so it should be cleared up pretty easily. Meanwhile, in this bottom lane, Hanzo doing everything he can. He did actually finish up that simple geometry, and he did go for the Dragon Sight instead of the Hungering Arrow, electing to go with the Dragon Strike on top of the Blessed Shield and hopefully catch, Chromie was with that Blessed Shield, will be able to catch people in those sands and then just Dragon Strike right through the sands. People can't get away from that if they're caught in the sands. So we're looking like the Dragon Sight's arrow was going through the camp. They're playing for a camp. Mei putting it down that ice wall on top of the Chromie. Chromie getting caught, but unfortunately that is a very well placed sands that nobody can really get to the Chromie. Greymane jumping in on the Johanna. Johanna, nice gust by Falstad, blowing away the damage from the side of Cool Cats and Kittens, but Johanna able to get herself a leap. Unfortunately missing there from Sonya. We do see in the backline Falstad diving into the camp and does go down to the side. Now we see Brightwing trying to get herself away as best she can, but that is a return kill for the side of CCS here. Everybody's low. They have nowhere to go. Chromie Sands is keeping them out. Hanzo just trying to poke as much as she can. Sonya, full health, pretty much trying to do everything she can to get this Johanna or the Hanzo. Unfortunately, they just have so much disengaged potential on the side of CCS, and Zool's like, you know what? I'm just going to go up, and I'm going to try to get this. Lucio is speeding everybody up. They might get their nice wall jump. Does get him away, and now he's going to chase this Zool down. Zool is potentially going to... Yeah, Zool does drop here. Sonya there to help secure that kill, and that is going to be this objective. Nobody is in the near vicinity. CCS is going to be able to pick up this entire objective, and this is first objective coming up from the side of Can't Connect Stuns here. They're appropriately putting Falstad in this top lane, trying to get as much split pushing with the Falstad as they can. Sonya being in the bot lane, and then the 3-man going into the mid lane, trying to push as much as they can. Chromie will be able to zone people off with the Johanna. They should have no problem clearing this down, but then where do they commit? To the top or the bottom? Most people would argue that you want to commit to the side that your Mert camp is on, so we should see them rotate top, but they are going to rotate down to the bottom lane. Zool did rotate up. Maybe the objective was pretty much chunked down by the Brightwing there. They weren't worried about it. Meanwhile, the objective in the bot lane still sitting fairly healthy. Sonya trying to get picked out here, leaps herself out. That's the ultimate burn from the Sonya. The rest of the team should have no problem just clearing up this terror. And pretty good defense coming out of Cool Cats and Kittens. Hanzo bursting down with the Dragon's Arrow, kind of zoning everybody off. Lucio getting caught, gets himself away. Sonya will go down. The Ice Wall does come down to stop any further movement from the Johanna. Hanzo doing all he can to attack further from range, get some of this poke damage down. He will not be able to finish off anybody here, but a nice pick onto the Sonya. Good zoning ultimate from the Hanzo. It didn't necessarily hit anybody, but nobody could run past the arrow there onto the other side, and so they do get a free kill and rightfully are going to pick up the siege camp. Any camps that you could steal away from your opponents is pretty vital to get yourself continuing to go in that experience gain. The side of Cool Cats and Kittens picking up that camp and continuing to just increase this lead. He would be a great auctioneer thrown up in chat. I would be a terrible auctioneer. I would stutter over all those words. Those people are fantastic at what they are going to be doing. But you know, thanks for the offer. I guess I always held those people in high regard. I'm like, I can't believe they can do what they can do. But anyway, Hanzo burning out the arrow there, trying to just get another zoning ultimate, having to back his way off. So we do see the Zool in the top lane, just going here to get some of the soak as best as he can. Meanwhile, everybody's kind of just pressing the reset button. We do see a nice experience lead from Cool Cats and Kittens, sitting on about a level lead here with their camps on their side. They're looking to hit 16s and potentially start putting the pressure on the side of Can't Connect stuns. They want to start getting this lead, may even pass up the opportunity to fight over this next objective just to make sure that they don't pick a bad fight and lose this experience lead they've got going. Just continue to get this soak. Zool being in the top lane, going against the false side. They've got this siege camp going against the bruiser camp. Meanwhile, the rest of the team rotating down to the spot lane over Brightwing. They do look like they're setting up to potentially get a play here. Mei trying to get herself away, gets stunned out by the Johanna. Hanzo doing all he can, misses the arrow there, the scattering arrow. The sound barrier being popped by the Lucio. Mei trying to get herself away. The arrow zoning out the Mei. She can't get herself away. Popping Ice Wall does not get anybody in the Ice Wall. Having to jump herself out of there. Brightwing teleporting it into the Hanzo. Greymane getting himself out. Everybody kind of just smacking each other around, but nobody able to get the finishing blows. Chromie's sitting on fairly low mana here at the sides. You know, everybody's kind of healthy and full on mana except for the Sonya on the side of Can't Connect stuns, but they are electing not to pick this fight. Zool is rotating in. Again, picking another great fight over this camp. You know, they're doing a fantastic job at getting these timings, making sure they have the advantage. Falstad having to stay in this top lane to deal with some of the minions, and that's another camp steal for the sides of Cool Cats and Kittens. So pretty much right now, the 16 advantage is in there for Cool Cats and Kittens. They do want to start sieging this up. Hanzo did back himself away to go start picking up the camp. Iron Skin popped by the Johanna there. Maybe she was feeling a little scared about a potential engage coming in. They did rotate the Falstad down for all 5. They're going to go pick their camps up. They do have the objective advantage. 2-0, and they have the 16 talent tier advantage. Zool already sitting up here ready to get going. They did pick up that tower in the mid lane. This tower in the top lane is getting some siege damage from Zool's just passive pushing power they can provide. Falstad putting some nice damage down. Blink going into the siege minion there so Brightwing can get herself away. And we do see the sides of, they've got objective pressure. This objective is in a favorable position for Cool Cats and Kittens. Hanzo just using the arrow to kind of zone everybody away, maybe delay so that the Zool or the Chromie can pick it up. Mei having to get herself out, and this looks like it's just going to be an easy pickup for the Chromie here, and this is the objective being picked up. Meanwhile, Brightwing didn't even have to teleport herself in, so she got a nice push going into this bottom lane, now recognizing that she kind of has to get out of the way. Mei is getting in. Blink will just keep her perfectly safe. She could teleport in at any time. Meanwhile, the 4-man going to mid lane, looking like they want to siege down this camp. Brightwing continuing to just delay, get some of this pressure down onto the Falstad. The siege minion here, the siege minion here trying to just get some of this pressure. It's still sitting fairly healthy. Chromie able to zone everybody off of that siege minion there. Sonya rotating in, looking like she may be here to help. She already cleared that top lane. She has the leap. Mei just trying to buy time. Leap goes in onto the Hanzo there. Sonya trying to jump herself in. The sound barrier goes out. Zool counters it with the ultimate. Dragon arrow goes out from the Hanzo. Sonya getting fairly low. Everybody else jumping up to the top. But this 4-man ice wall coming out of the Mei was absolutely huge. Being able to provide that disconnect, that disengage potential, and Sonya just rotating down, clearing out the camp in the bot lane. The rest of the members from Cool Cats and Kittens, they are continuing to siege out what's going on in this top lane. Being able to use these Zool's minions to kind of tank up a lot of tower. Falstad flying himself in to look for a gust. Gets the gust only onto the Johanna. Falstad going to get rooted out in return. Greymane doing what he can to the Johanna, but we do see Zool getting knocked back from the Mei there. Ends up going down from the damage coming out of that Greymane and the Falstad. The Sonya trying to get on this hunt, but unfortunately will not be able to. That's a kill going over to the side of Can't Connect stuns. Now they can safely pick up their own camps. What seemed like these camps were a forgotten story for them. They can finally start picking these up. Meanwhile, the side of Cool Cats and Kittens, they're going over and they're picking up their siege camps as well. Everything's pretty much squared away. This map pressure is pretty massive due to this keep falling from the sides of Cool Cats and Kittens. They were able to get that keep. That's a pretty big pickup as it will continue to provide a lot of pressure in that mid lane with this siege camp that's being picked up. So Can't Connect stuns, they gotta be aware that these minions are going to constantly provide pressure. Brightwing kind of just scouting herself out, seeing it, making sure that she could safely push with these minions. Not necessarily sure where the Sonya is. Sonya is in this bot lane, so Brightwing, just being cautious, doesn't want to die, but also wants to be able to provide some of that pressure in the top lane. Now recognizing that the Sonya isn't here, going to go in and try and provide some of that pressure in the top lane, making sure that they get this last wave, this last objective in the top lane to get those siege missions pushing. And there's no need for anybody on the side of Cool Cats and Kittens to pick up any of these objectives. They can wait until they're on level 20s. They're at level 19 now. By the time the next objective comes around, they should be on those 20s. But they do see in the bot lane, Johanna electing to go in. And again, this is like the 4th time that they have stolen this camp away from Can't Connect stuns. Hanzo and Johanna are just on the same page, jumping in at the same time and zoning everybody off with that Dragon Arrow ultimate coming out, or the Dragon Strike, excuse me, coming out from the Hanzo, being able to just deny everything on the side of Can't Connect stuns. Falstad is getting into a little bit of aggressive position, having to get away with the E. Does get himself away. Unfortunately, the Johanna did have Blessed Shield, just elected not to go for the pick there, electing to just back off, wait for 20s. 20s are online now. We do see Chromie going with that Unraveling at level 20. Those Sands are going to be absolute murder to stand in. Hanzo getting the reduced cooldown on the ultimate as expected. Invisible Friends from the Brightwing, going to be able to blink herself around and make her team pretty much stealth. She can get the entire team there. Johanna going with the Indestructible, wants to just stay in the front of the back line of the side of CCS as long as she possibly can. Sitting here in stealth from the Brightwing, just kind of moseying herself around. Meanwhile, this objective will go over. 20s are not online from the side of Can't Connect stun, so they will be able to just get themselves a little bit of advantage. Sonya getting caught out a little bit here. The rotation's coming in. She does leave herself away. The slowing sands does go down. Johanna is here. She hasn't popped the Blessed Shield. There it goes down, connect the stun, and that is going to be a nice pick from the side of Cool Cats and Kittens. Everybody is down in the bot lane from Can't Connect stun, so they do have siege minions coming in. They will be able to siege this lane down. That's a 60-second death timer coming out from the side of Can't Connect stuns. Mei looking like she's trying to go in and pick this fight. The sands have not been picked back up yet. Nice ice wall going down, making sure that Johanna cannot get away. Unbreakable stop from the Johanna. The Greymane coming in does go down, dove in, trying to get the Johanna, but the Johanna pretty much just baited him in with the Indestructible. Mei doing all she can, but this is not a fight that they want. They need to get out and defend. Hanzo putting down that Dragon Strike, and Mei is running for her life. She will go down here, and that is 3 kills. Now this could be just core end right here. The call with the minions in the top lane, 2 keeps her down. We got minions pushing in the mid lane. Johanna going in, trying to zone everybody off. Cool Cats and Kittens looking like they're on their way to a easy, well, not so easy, but a clean game 1 here in this top lane. Just playing a very methodical, looking around their advantages with the timers. And, ultimately, the main part of this story that comes down for this game is being able to pick up this camp. This camp was huge. GG's coming out from the sides of both teams. Game 1 going over to Cool Cats and Kittens. Let me get that updated for you all real quick. Game number 1, and that means, the first pick or map choice will go over to the sides. We're still waiting on results here, but the first map will go over to the sides of Can't Connect stuns. They get the choice between map pick or first pick, so we'll just kind of hang around and wait. Make sure I didn't miss anything in chat while we're getting in through that action real quick. Look at some of these stats. I mean, Hanzo was able to put down a lot of value with getting that scattering arrow. It's done so quickly, put down that 52,000, and a lot of that 52,000 did stick. It didn't pop off. It was all that damage was critical damage, usually over that bot lane. And then, the Dragon Strikes weren't necessarily used in a lot of these fights for damage. It was a lot of zoning. The Hanzo is using the Dragon Strike to provide a lot of that zoning first team to make sure, this was a pretty low death game, 5 to 6, not a lot of killing going on, a lot of damage. The main source of action always seemed to be around Can't Connect stuns, siege camp, that Merc camp in the bot lane that Cool Cats and Kittens took like 4 times that game. And that was really their way of controlling the game, getting control over that bot lane. Let's see what is going on. Everything else going through here. Yeah, it's pretty much just a lot of talking about the speed of the game, or the speed of the announcer in the game, which, yeah, I talk fast. It happens. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, I'm probably going to be a little more energetic tonight since we just finished our match right before this one. So apologies for that. we'll try and tone it down a little bit in game number 2. But man, that was pretty. Like I said, I've never casted Garden of Terror yet. That was pretty exciting to get to see a Garden of Terror game coming in. It's always a treat to cast a new map that you haven't had a lot of time being spent on, and it wasn't in rotation in the last season. So this new season of NGS allowing Garden of Terror, excuse me, to rotate in was pretty awesome to see. Let's get everybody kind of over back to the map screen. Nothing really else to shout out in regards to the stats there. I mean, looking at some of the ultimates were pretty much as expected coming out of the draft. We saw the fall state guys. Sonya went leap, which was expected. May electing to go for that ice wall, trying to cut people off instead of going for that avalanche to kind of snowball people back into her lane. And everything else coming out of both teams pretty standard as far as what I expected. This Falstad going for that hybrid tailwind build, going for the flow rider at level 13 just to be able to get cooldown on that boomerang to provide a lot of that burst damage there. But yeah, let's get everybody back over to the map over here. We're still waiting on these teams to see where we're going in map number 2. Alrighty. So looking at the maps that we have still available, we've got Battlefield of Eternity open, Braxis Holdout, Cursed Hollow, Infernal Shrines, Volskaya. So we still got a lot of these 3-lane maps, or just larger maps. The only map that was not there or available that is one of those smaller maps is Braxis Holdout. Kind of a fun one. I've cast a couple Braxis Holdouts. I'm always hopeful that I'll get another Braxis Holdout because there's a lot of comps, but my favorite to cast by in large is Battlefield of Eternity, because that to me that's like the most fun map that Heroes has to offer, just because of the complexity that can come into the draft and pick phase going into Battlefield of Eternity. But we still got some classic like Cursed Hollow, Infernal Shrines sticking around. The classic maps is hold on, sorry, I'm just getting pinged in chat about something. Looks like not in chat, sorry, in Discord, but it's not in regards to this match. So I'll check that later. But yeah, the classic like the Tomb of the Spider Queen and the Dragon Shard getting banned out by both teams here, so we're not going to get to see those OG Heroes of the Storm maps coming out in this game. But looking at what these teams seem to be doing, if we're looking like the side of Cool Cats and Kittens are going to, if they get the map choice, they have really good timings in camp pressure. So looking for, other camp maps or camp pressure maps that they could, a Cursed Hollow could be what we're seeing. But we are going to go to the side. Oh, we are going to Braxis Holdout. Hot dang. All right. I love Braxis Holdout. And it looks like Team 1 is going to pick it. So it looks is going to pick first. So it looks like they elected to get first pick on the side of CCS, and that means that the Braxis Holdout map was picked up by Cool Cats and Kittens. So let me get that updated for you guys real quick. We're going to be going... Sorry, I was... both teams are kind of talking about potential trades going on with getting everybody into the lobby here. But Braxis Holdout is the map that we're going to be going to here in game number 2, picked up by Cool Cats and Kittens. The CCS electing to go for the first pick. And so Braxis Holdout, it's going to change a lot of the dynamic that we potentially saw in the pick and ban phase and how these teams are going to approach. There is a lot of merc camps to be picked up, but they're usually outside of the objective. When the objective's online, usually those camps aren't necessarily the focus of either team. And the lanes are rather short. So there's not a lot of space to be fighting in between the gates, so to speak. There's every team's just going to try to be scrapping around those points. We are going to see champions that may not have as strong of an appearance come out on this map. We may see a Rexar pick up here if it's not banned right away, due to the fact that Rexar has that ability to both soak up experience in the lane and provide a lot of that pressure over the objective as well, kind of be in two places at once. So you kind of have to either commit to one or the other, or just commit to ganking Rexar with the team. And we may see those highly mobile champions coming out in this map. Well, we may see return of the Hanzo here. We may see that Brightwing come back. Other champions like, Genji's kind of fallen out of the meta, but he used to be a very contested pick on this map due to the fact that he could just get from one side of the map to the other very quickly. And some of those champions that have the ability ability to mount up and get to the other side of the map faster, like the URL. So we'll see what these teams elect to go for in this pick ban phase. I'm just letting everybody know that I am ready, making sure that both sides are ready here as well, and we should get into this Braxis holdout. Still got a lot of people in here from the raid. If shout outs, I see a lot of CCS shout outs going on in the chat. Anybody here supporting Cool Cats and Kittens, make sure you give them some love as well. Got one team saying that they're ready to go. Just waiting to hear back from the other team, and both teams have given the green light. We should be getting the jump into the pick and ban phase here any second now. They've sat on starting for like 10 seconds. There we go. Now we're getting into the ban phase. Sorry about that. They said they were starting and it was like 15 seconds of delay before we actually got into the match. But here we go. I mean, I don't know if we're going to see any like adjustment bans. Maybe the Chromie doesn't see the light of day here on the map. I mean, that was first pickup from the side of Cool Cats and Kittens on the last map. Maybe they're going to just elect to ban it out so the side of CCS can't pick it up in the first rotation. I usually expect to see Chromie banned out pretty heavily on these maps, but we're also going to see champions like Rexar getting banned out, Hogger getting banned out, maybe a Gazlo nod here or there, but the Chromie, I think, may be one of the few that is going to get that respect ban, just to the fact that Chromie is just such in a strong place right now. She's seen heavily picked in all the high competitive play, and is able to just do so much work. You could see those sands being able to provide all that zoning potential in that last game, and just allowing that to get through would be pretty devastating for a second time. But D.Va going to be the first one banned out again. Was, I believe, the first ban from Can't Connect Sense. And we do see another Malthail. Now that there's more people in here, CCK, okay, CCK and CCS, that's where I'm getting confused. We do got some CCK fans in here as well, but Malthail getting banned out yet again. There must be a Malthail, a strong Malthail player on the side of Can't Connect Stuns, getting the respect ban first in both games. I expect that's more of a target ban rather than, this is the strategy we kind of came in here with. Do see a Brightwing ban. So Brightwing, like we talked about, having that mobility to get from bottom to top really quickly and being able to provide that pressure will get, quickly turn a 1v1 situation into a 2v1 situation. We'll get the ban out on Braxis. We won't see the tiny little fairy on Braxis holdout here. And for the side of Cool Cats and Kittens, Anna again. So these are, again, going with the same bans from the Cool Cats and Kittens. We did see a little adjustment from Can't Connect Stuns, but here we go. Chromie being picked up first pick by Can't Connect Stuns this time. So Chromie getting the first pick, getting through the bans phase, both games, getting first picked by each team in both games. Chromie getting traded over by the side, and we're going to see, is that Marad, picking up the Chromie. I wonder if we're going to see a Rexar pickup since he did get through. We do see Uther did get banned out in game one, and we do see the Hogger. So Hogger left open for the side of Cool Cats and Kittens. They do pick up, and this is a pretty good map for Hogger, being able to bounce around on the objective fairly quickly, utilizing that passive to be able to give himself a little more unpassable terrain to be bouncing around on top of the objective. And also very good with the boss too. Can just bounce back and forth and help shred that boss down rather quickly. And then Uther being able to just chain crowd control on top of anybody else that has a point and click sign. We do see the Vala Ariel pick up instantly by the side of Can't Connect Stuns. One of the OG and still very strong combinations. If you, originally when Tassadar had his shielding potential, you could throw Tassadar into that mix and just make it absolutely terrifying. Tassadar got his rework, so he's not as terrifying with that composition, but we do see the Vala and Ariel getting picked up by the side of Can't Connect Stuns. So we're going to need to see some pretty, we already got the Hogger, Nubrak getting banned out here. We've got the Uther. We've got some pretty good lockdown. We just need that hard engage to make sure that we can get onto that Ariel or onto that Chromie and be able to just lock them down and kill them from the side of Cool Cats and Kittens. But they've already got some of the pieces already there. If we just see some sort of champion that can provide a lot of that dive potential that, from what's left from a lot of these tanks, the Diablo is still open. We could see a Diablo pickup here, maybe pairing it with the Tassadar for the walls. We do see a Choban getting a little frightful of the possibility of pulling in a Cho'Gath here with these next 2 picks. They are going to do the thing. I'm curious what the thing is that is getting called out in chat. They're gonna do the thing. Is it the Cho'Gath thing, or is this the Vala Ariel thing that we're commenting on? Because Cho'Gath's no longer an option, but Vala Ariel is getting picked up here, and Johanna, that Blessed Shield being able to come out. If they paired Anduin, we could have worried about the Falling Sword, but they already had picked up the Uther, so Cho'Gath. And we do see Gul'dan getting picked up here as well. Being able to put that Horrify on the back line, give Johanna and Hogger even more time to get in that back line. We do see Taunt Varian coming out here on the side of CCS, being able to just lock down any target, and a good counter to Johanna with that Shattering Throw that comes out on level 13. And Lili, double support coming out. So that... who's going in the top lane? I'm guessing Lili's going to go into the top lane in this combination to go up against the Hogger. Because Chromie and Vala definitely aren't. Ariel's going to stay with Vala. Maybe Varian goes into the top lane, but they're going to want the Varian. So I'm guessing this is going to be... check out CCK logo. You'll understand. We are going to potentially see this. I'm guessing it's going to be Lili in the top lane. And Nazeebo getting picked up as the last pick from the side of CCK. Oh, okay. I see it on the now. I see it on the CCK logo. Yep. All right. Yeah. The Cho'Gath or Cho'Gall sitting on the Cho'Gath. God, I got League of Legends on the mind. I don't know why. Cho'Gall sitting on the logo. But already drafts have been finalized. I mean, I really like. I'm not sure what the Nazeebo pick was. It's going to be super late game. He's got a strategy down there. Maybe it's to just provide a lot of that bleed overtime with the Frogs or zoning potential to keep Vala from just vaulting in all the time and being able to provide that burst on whatever target Varian wants to lock down. But I mean, Nazebo's just going to get stronger the later this game goes. Meanwhile, Gul'dan should have a fairly easy time of it as long as he stays safe. He's got a very, very beefy front line in front of him. So we probably will see Gul'dan having the time of his life down there, just being able to stack up the corruption and get himself a pretty good damaging game here going on. But let's get these teams introduced. On the blue side, we've got Slickrub sitting on that Ariel. We've got Merod on the Chromie. We've got the Mayaski. She keeps moving so I can't see. On the Lili. Brainer sitting on the Variant. And we do see Wolf rotating top on the Vala. We've got Haveroth sitting on the Johanna, Descolada sitting on the Gul'dan, Crazy Haru on the Nazeebo. We got Lub, I'm just going to call him Lub, sitting on the Uther, and we've got Beowulf sitting on the Hogger. Let's get these teams down to the bot lane. Gul'dan is just going to try and get this Echo Corruption stacked up as much as he possibly can. Uther trying to get this Hammer of Lightbringer up as well. The side of, we do see the Vol. So Ariel does go top lane with the Vol, so we're going to see a 3-2 split coming out of the side of CCS, which makes sense. The fact they always want to keep that Ariel on the side of wherever side Vala decides to commit to, that's where they're going to want the Ariel. That is going to mean they're going to get bullied, especially with the Nazeebo and the Gul'dan in the bot lane. This Lili's going to try her best to keep everybody healed up, but there's going to be a lot of pushing pressure in this bot lane for the side of CCK. CCS, they're going to be able to respond in this top lane. Looks like Uther's rotating up, going to rotate up the healer to keep Hogger alive as best he can. Uther coming around, going to land the stun pretty easily onto the Vala. Hogger is going to continue with that. Meanwhile, Chromie was able to pick up a kill onto the Gul'dan in the bot lane. Looks like Varian was able to get in. I didn't expect any kills coming out in this bot lane due to the fact that Varian does not have his taunt online yet, but they were able to find some sort of pick around that play. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Hogger having to get himself away as fast as he can. Uther not in the top lane anymore, rotated back into the bottom lane. Nazeebo now rotating up. Hogger getting stunned into the wall. Vala just hitting the turret. Doesn't have enough to finish the Hogger quite yet and getting herself away. Both team members are going to be able to get themselves themselves to safety. Meanwhile, Chromie going to put a lot of siege into this bot lane, trying to get, you know, this wave cleared, but Gul'dan is going to have that wave clear potential that he'll be able to match. Varian picking up the objective in the bot lane. Force are not online. Meanwhile, Vala and Ariel, they're going to be sieging up this top lane. We do see a fight starting to break out over the objective on the bot lane. Varian popping the parry, Gul'dan just draining as much health as he can. Blues do pick up both of the beacons, and so the longer that the Varian can hold on, the better it's going to be. They're going to get some channel going off, but not at the sacrifice of his life. Varian trying to do everything he can to get himself away. Very low, but Lili able to get one last jug over, keep him alive. Meanwhile, Hogger bouncing around up like a ping pong ball in the top lane. Azebo trying to put down the damage, but Azebo is sitting out of mana. He's going to have to run. That means Vala and Ariel are going to control that top lane beacon, and the bottom lane, everybody's going to just kind of have to get themselves back, get themselves topped up with mana. And meanwhile, since we have a little bit of a pause, we could see these teams going potentially for the camps or just going to continue to provide that siege pressure. But since there's not a lot going on, somebody threw in that Domainski. Okay. Domainski is how you pronounce that name. Meanwhile, we see this objective, Chromie popping the time loop onto the Uther. Taunt going down. Varian does have his taunt now, so now they have a little bit more kill pressure in that bot lane. Chromie doing what she can to just bully this Gul'dan off the objective. Varian trying to get this Uther down. His taunt should be back up here in a couple of seconds. He does not have the Shattering Throw yet, so he will not be able to break that Iron Skin, but we do see a 4-man commitment coming out of CCK in the bot lane. Meanwhile, Vala and Ariel just having the time of their life, trying to siege down this top lane. Hogger doing all he can to try and prevent this push, but we can see the structure advantage slowly starting to creep in favor of CCS. Meanwhile, Varian getting stunned out by the Uther, popping the parry, getting himself away. Lili trying to provide some sort of pressure onto the Gul'dan in the back, but, you know, nullifying whatever channel was going on, trying to maybe sneak a channel into the back, but Varian just needed a little bit of healing. So this 3v4 is going to continue to favor CCK. I don't anticipate we're going to see any rotations down from the Vala and Ariel. They're just having so much fun sieging down this top lane. Hogger's like, guys, help, please. I am losing all of my structures, and they're just not able to get enough siege potential in this bot lane to even that up. So hopefully we'll see some sort of rotation coming out of the side of CCK to be able to give that Hogger a little bit of the help that he desires. He does look like he's going to go and try and sneak this camp just to give himself a little bit of pushing pressure in that top lane. Meanwhile, Vala and Ariel, they're like, okay, well, we'll just start burning down your structure in the top lane as best we can. Varian going over. He's going to start channeling. That's going to give this objective over to blue. They went down to go pick up the globe on the side of CCK, but Varian was able to finish the channel. So now, as long as Varian can stay on this objective, you know, Nazebo will go up and pick this up. So once they recognize that this has gone over, this is kind of a moot point to fight over. They do back off, and now the objective is starting to flip over to the side of CCK getting the advantage. They do have the minions pushing into the top lane. Hogger getting himself low, having to back himself away, get himself a little bit more healthy before he's able to fight over this objective. Ariel and Vala, they've just got infinite sustain up in that top lane. They will be able to just continue to, and the more auto attacks, the more Ariel's like, yeah, sure, here's a heal, and here's another one here. And they're going to be able to bully these people off eventually bully them off the objective there. We do see that the side of CCK was able to finish off that channel. Hogger able to withstand as long as he can. So this will be a nice push into the bot lane. They were eventually able to chase the Hogger away, get a kill, but they don't have as much siege potential in that top lane. There's nobody there. So as long as these three members can provide some wave clear, Chromie using the W before the minions get there. So Chromie won't be able to clear out these Guardians in the back line. This means this bottom objective will go over to CCK pretty handedly. Varian just has to make sure he keeps himself safe. We do see Vala and Ariel rotating in. Vala here to help provide some of that wave clear, even up this objective. They don't want to lose too much more since they know that this top lane will go down. CCK, they're like, you know what, we got what we wanted here. We were able to get the pressure, able to get the first objective, and now they're going to go set up to start getting their camps, clear up the top lane. Meanwhile, bottom lane is just continually getting cleared out here. Remember, the objectives won't come online until the last Zerg minion is killed. We see a couple Hydralisks kind of just sitting over there spitting around. And we still see a couple Guardian being left alive in this top lane. They're looking like they want to set up a possible invade, so they're holding the Guardian, waiting until they get into position. Now they're seeming like they want to back off, maybe not pick this fight. Varian coming in, trying to land the top of the Iron Skin, popped by the Johanna, able to get herself into safety away from the opposing team. Frog's there for good measure to make sure everybody get away. And now both teams just electing to go over and pick up their respective camps, get some wave clear going. The Lili going down just to pick up some soak in this bot lane. So talking about, you know, that first, it seemed like the side of CCS were pretty much playing that exactly how they wanted, and then just a nice rotation from the Zebo allowed that top camp to be picked up, and they were able to hold off the Varian off this bottom objective long enough that they were able to finish that channel off. So good beacon play coming out on the side of CCK here, being able to get that first objective and, you know, pretty much evening up the game. They needed that objective to get themselves back onto even grounds because CCS was just being able to put down so much punishment in that early game. I anticipate that we're going to see a lane swap. Vala and Ariel may go to that bot lane here, and the remaining members of CCK will probably defend top. But we do see a gank. This Hogger is going to go down. Sands of Time is available for the Chromie now. Hogger does lose his life. Meanwhile, the rest of the members of CCK, they're trying to get some pressure into the bot lane. Now retreat pings are coming out. They need to be careful of this 5-man that's rotating down. It doesn't take much time to go from top to bottom here on the side of CCS. So CCK just backing off, making sure that there is no boss play. That is being picked up. They do have minions pushing deep, but it's just that one remaining Goliath that will get killed. And they just elect to go get their camp. They have even talent tiers on level 10. Everything being even Steven. We see Rain of Vengeance being picked up by the Vala. The Jug of 1,000 Cups by the Lily there. We see the Crystal Aegis coming out of the Ariel. Parry picking up by the Variant, and the Sands of Time as seen by the Chromie. Meanwhile, on the side of the CCK, we see the D-Shield being picked up by the Uther there. Horrified by the Gul'dan. We do see that Hortipult. I keep wanting to call it Hardpult. Hortipult by the Hogger. We may see it here. He's in a rough spot. He doesn't want to get taunted here. Able to pop the Unstoppable Bounce himself to safety. Decides to hold onto the Hortipult there and will get himself in position, possibly for a re-engage. Lily is nowhere near. We do see the Uther and the Johanna rotating up through this bot lane. They may be able to pick off this Variant here. Protect. Hortipult going down. Everybody getting themselves in. The Sands of Time put down and then picked right back up by the Chromie again. And the taunt landing onto the Nazebo. Nice 3-man stun coming out there, but a great Horrify gets this Vala into dangerous territory. Vala able to get some of that healing down. Crystal Age just popped. Ariel will trade her life for the Crystal Age. No, she knocks him back and able to get herself away. Oh, Ariel does eventually go down. I thought she had gotten herself away there with a great taunt or a great knockback, but Johanna throwing her life back, trying to get some sort of damage done, and everybody's now getting healthy on the side of CCS, and they're starting to put this counter engage in. The D-Shield being popped onto the Hogger. Meanwhile, Vala is chasing. She has the Lily to keep herself topped off. Hogger being picked off by the Variant. Chromie will secure that kill. The 1,000 Jugs being popped by the Lily, and that is a nice 2-for-1 turnaround coming out of CCS there. What looked like they were in a little bit of trouble, and they were able to hold on to this bottom beacon that entire time. So they're going to get some serious beacon channeling going on here and go get this all this soak that was denied from the side of CCK and get themselves, you know, a nice little experience lead. So they were down about a level, and now they've taken about a half-level lead and are getting some pretty good channel, up to 56% there. So good fight. That's kind of what they needed to get themselves back in. Vala is going to have to go back to get herself healthy again. Chromie picking that timeout at level 11 for Chromie is pretty strong. She's going to be able to give herself that much more survivability when we see the Johanna Hogger all just jumping in, trying to like isolate her out and get that burst kill onto the Chromie. Just giving herself that extra shield potential when the team hard commits to her. She does have the crown on top of her. I anticipate there it goes over to the Vala. And meanwhile, CCS, they are picking up this siege camp, this you know, fire turret. I think it's called. It's not a fire bat, is it? No, fire bat is the other minion. I don't remember what those called. They're from StarCraft 2. All right, one of the expansions from StarCraft 2. But picking up the camp, we'll be able to push that bot lane and also shred the armor of anybody who wants to get hit by those flames. Meanwhile, Varian just kind of sitting by himself on top of the objective. Eventually going away. The Nazebo sitting on about 78 stacks. That's probably where I would expect to see a Nazebo on a map like Braxis Holdout. You know, it's not necessarily known as one of the best Nazebo maps, but he is able to provide a lot of good fighting over these beacons. So we will see the Nazebo continue to get those stacks, get himself into good position for this late game damage that the Nazebo will eventually be able to stack himself up to. we do see CCS, they're electing to try and get some of this bot experience, now rotating up to get their camps. And, you know, the side of CCK, they are still doing a very good job at maintaining camp pressure. So even though it's a smaller map, they are still getting a lot of these camps, doing these rotations well to make sure that they've caught up in the beacon and have the lanes constantly pushing in their favor. And that's one thing what we saw on Goddard and Terra that was kind of a strength to the team, is they were able to control the macro play pretty well. It's just some of these team fights. The engage does go down onto the Nazeebo. Nazeebo getting himself away. Hogger doing the holder pull to get himself in, now having to run the sands of time. The Crystal Light just being popped on the variant. Gul'dan is here. He does have the Horrify. He does not have the Horrify. It was popped, but Ariel getting fairly low. Hogger just jumping deep into enemy territory. 2 kills going over, both onto the Ari and Vala. Now the side of CCS, they have to run. This is a great fight for CCK, being able to pick up that 3rd kill on the Lily. Varian sitting very low. That is 4, and Varian's just trying to get that last, but nice D shield popped by the Uther, keeping Gul'dan alive, and that is a full man wipe. They do have these siege minions pushing in the bot lane during all this, so I expect to see a pretty good siege. This could be at least a lot of damage, if not a keep pickup, while Hogger goes and picks up this top lane. We'll be able to control it, clear out that top lane minions, and we could see, you know, the fact that they have these Zerg minions being stacked up in the pen in the top lane, we will see a massive Zerg wave coming in their favor into that top lane as well once they even this out. This keeps getting down to about health. Most of the members of CCS are now online. They do back out, smartly so. So they got about half the keep, which is pretty good siege pressure on the side of CCS. And now they're going to just rotate up and try and go get as much pressure as they can in that top lane. They will have to deal with the small Zerg wave that is coming to the bot lane, but Gul'dan looking like he's going to rotate down. Actually, the whole 4-man's going to rotate down and try and clear this out. They know that they've got the pressure. This is going to take a while for CCS, so maybe they can get a push if they clear all these Zerg minions out and start to get that and finish off that keep in the bot lane. We'll see how fast this top can be cleared. All 5 members committed from CCS to clear this out. Chromie should have a pretty easy time clearing this out. The taunt trying to be landed on the Hogger. Nice pop of the Unstoppable to deny it. Using the Hortipult because he knew the taunt was still up from the variant to get himself to safety. And these Zerg minions being cleared out rather quickly from the side of CCS, thankfully due to the Chromie and the Vala damage. Meanwhile, the Zerg still being cleared out. It's not the best Zerg clear on the side of CCK. The Gul'dan's really the only one who's going to be able to provide a lot of that Zerg wave potential there. But big fight coming out of CCS. They're getting themselves back into the driver's seat, picking up a whole 5-man team wipe, and pretty much negating any advantage that CCS had gotten themselves into and getting back into that 1-level lead. Now they're just needing to get themselves onto that 16 talent tier and then look for a nice little fight. Meanwhile, CCS, they're looking for a fight, being on even talent tiers. Varian getting himself in, trying to find that fight. Does find the taunt onto the Zebo. He walked into the sands, and Zebo able to get himself away. Horrify landing onto 4 members there. They're having to back out. The Jugs are coming out from the Lily, able to heal everybody up. She's trying to get over onto this objective. CCK, they're willing to just forego this camp, secede it, make sure that they get their 16s online. Uther now coming in. 16s quite aren't online. They're almost ready. Most of the ultimates are still online for both teams, really. You know, Taunt and Sands of Time having a very low cooldown. Rate of Vengeance having 2 channels. So most of the side of CCS, they're able to keep their ultimates on pretty low cooldown, but none of the main ultimates popped on the side of CCK there. They were holding onto them, possibly looking for a counter engage. Didn't quite find it. Now they should be on the hunt or just start providing a lot of this boss pressure because they have that 16 talent tier there. So CCK doing a good job. Varian getting a little aggressive with this pathing, maybe trying to look for some sort of fight, recognizing that the Gul'dan and the Zebo are in the top lane, but Johanna with the Iron Skin is able to get herself away. The Shattering throw was used by the Varian to get rid of that shield, but unfortunately Taunt was already on cooldown and isn't able to kind of follow it up. And, you know, on the side of CCK, they really don't look like they're trying to find any fight. They look like they're comfortable just utilizing their team fight pressure that they had. They had a pretty successful team fight, last team fight, and maybe they're just looking to potentially wait for this objective to come online, find another nice rotation. Johanna just kind of sitting on the boss. She knows Varian's there. She's kind of like just trying to bait it. That taunt goes down. The Shattering Throw gets rid of the Iron Skin there. Johanna getting herself to safety. Nice 3-man Horrify on all the squishy targets from the side of CCS. Huge play. The Jugs are coming out, trying to keep everyone alive, but Vala does go down. D-Shield being popped onto the Johanna at a perfect opportunity, kind of baiting everybody in for that kill, and then Johanna being able to keep herself alive, very taunting the Johanna to try and run away, but everybody on the side of CCS has to run. Gul'dan just able to sit back there. That was a massive Horrify coming out of the Gul'dan there. Really turned the fight in favor of the side of CCK, and now they're just able to clean up and put a lot of pressure into this bot lane. Chromie will be able to zone with those sands, but to what cost? They're gonna lose this keep. Nobody ran back. Uther didn't run back to channel this top lane. Hogger looked like he now wants to go do that. Uther coming down to help with the siege. This keep was gonna die regardless, so you know, they wasted a little bit of time there, but ultimately they're still sitting in a really good spot. Now having that bottom keep finished, they're going to rotate with the 4-man to pick up this camp, make sure that they're again denying camps from the opposing team. Something that they've done well this entire series is picking up opposing team camps, and that's really spoken to how they've gotten their lead and continued to snowball their lead a little in their favor. Varian coming down, trying to get this beacon, but the rest of the members of CTK, they're like, okay, you get the beacon, we get the boss. Chromie does scout it out with that that level 1 talent there. She does know that the boss is getting very low. This is kind of a last-minute hurrah for CCS. They need to get this boss fight win. Sands of Time being popped down defensively there. Horrify only landing onto the Vala and the Varian. The objective does get picked up by the side of CCK. The Crystal Age is being used on the Varian. Nazebo sitting fairly low, but Vala is running at 78 health in the backline, not able to provide any more damage. Varian trying to get himself away to protect. The Sands of Time will delay any follow-up, so ultimately, no deaths there. There's a massive fight over the boss where both teams were kind of standing on the boss, but nobody died. The double support able to keep the Vala alive at 78 health, but the boss is being picked up. That will secure these beacons for CCK. The minions are in the bot lane. This is going to be a massive Zerg wave that's going to come out of this bot lane into a keepless lane, and so this could be a push to win with all 5 members coming out of CCK. They're rotating, seeing if they can find any stragglers, maybe get a pick, but I fully anticipate the Johanna trying to pick up this camp by herself, popping the Iron Skin. You know, the rest of the team not being there, this is delaying the push they can get with the Zerg into this bot lane here. Now the rest of the team comes over to kind of help it out, but this Zerg wave's already in deep. They're getting some free damage down to the Zerg wave, being able to clear the camp. They're electing, you know, realizing that that camp was already pushed there. There's no beacon that they can there's no way they could get there and be able to finish. This is going to be, I don't want to call it a wasted beacon phase necessarily, but maybe not entirely what they had in mind beacon phase for the side of CCK. They were looking like they wanted to potentially get a lot of pressure into that bot lane, but then Johanna trying to solo out the camp ultimately was the straw that kind of broke the camel's back on that push. They are now sitting up in this top lane. The Zerg wave hasn't been cleared yet, so they were able to rotate up. I didn't realize that they still haven't cleared out this bot lane. I fully anticipated that entire bot lane to be cleared. Varian going in. Now this top keep is going to go down, so yeah, they did eventually get some massive keep damage in this top lane. I don't know how that Zerg wave did not get cleared out as fast as it did. I mean, they got the Chromie, they got the Vala. That's a pretty good wave clear there. So maybe they just, there was more minions than they could manage, and so yeah, eventually they did get some pretty decent value out of it. You know, can't knock him too much when, you know, I considered that pretty much a not ideal Zerg wave scenario, and they almost got an entire keep with it, so shame on the caster there. But was Hogger the first pick? No, yeah, sorry, Hogger was not the first pick. Chromie was the first pick here. Hogger was in the first rotation for the side CCK. They picked up the Hogger and the Uther in the first rotation, and now we see Hogger looking like he wants to find a fight. They're so close to level 20 that they may just hold off, go get some of this top soak, get those level 20s, and then make a play around the level 20. Varian looking like he's trying to scout out. I mean, on the side of CCS, they're trying to find some sort of fight, but unfortunately, they also have to deal with this minion wave in the bot lane. They won't have Vala with them to help out, and so the side of CCK, they are going to get their level 20s online. That will give them a pretty significant advantage in this top lane siege. I mean, this keep needs to be sneezed on, and then it will eventually fall. Gul'dan should have no problem doing that from a safe distance, but Varian sitting there, trying to just be that last beacon of front line there to make sure that this keep does not fall. Everybody kind of setting up for a siege, making sure they don't get picked by the Varian there. Nobody wants to step too far forward just in case, because there is a lot of burst potential that can go down. Lili is still in that bot lane. Gul'dan putting the corruption down, and there it goes. That will be the keep. Finally getting sneezed on. Gul'dan finishing off the level 1 here. Now he's going to get that massive damage. I didn't realize that that wasn't finished. I should have been paying more attention to that. He did finish off the Corruption. So now Corruption will start to come back towards him. He'll basically do double damage as long as he can get it on a target that's running away from him. But, you know, good pickup there. It's going to provide a nice little damage spike to the Gul'dan player if he's able to get it in those big team fights. But the Uther being caught out here by the Chromie, they are fighting down level 20 talent here, so not ideal. Crystal just being popped on the Vala, Hortapult going in from the Hogger there. Look at the healing that is just coming out from the Lili and the Ariel there. Able to keep everybody alive. Varian popping the Protect, trying to get himself away. I mean, they fought down level 20 talent tiers. They didn't get a kill, but they didn't die. You know, that Vala, even though she got focused so heavily, was just that double support is coming in huge. If they could get on to level 20s, even talent tiers at level 20, they may still have a shot to get themselves back into this game. It's not over. I've seen many Braxis games come back even though you're down both keeps. It's going to be a hard-fought battle, but that fight there should have given themselves a little hope that, hey, you know, we might not get what we want, but they still are having a really tough time killing Vala here with this double support. Boss being picked up by the side of CCK, that's going to hurt quite a bit, especially with these double Zerg waves. Unfortunately, CCS was just a little late on the rotation, you know, suspecting that they had to deal with all these minions in their lane. So they're going to be fighting a massive Zerg wave and a boss here in this final push. I mean, you know, if you're a prayer, now's the time to start throwing up a prayer, a couple Hail Marys, because this is looking pretty devastating for the side of CCS. They're going to give it one last hurrah, maybe be able to provide some heroic defense in this top lane. Varian going in, trying to land the taunt, throwing the Shattering Sword down onto the Johanna, but Ariel just getting caught out. Feared going down from the Gul'dan. Nice corruption. The Varian popping the parry to stay himself alive. Unstoppable is popped, able to get himself kind of in a good situation. I mean, hurrah for Varian for not dying, but this core is just absolutely shredded. All those Zerg with the boss, that will be GG coming out. Game number 2 going in favor of Cool Cats and Kittens, and that will be a 2-0 victory. Awesome. I mean, awesome play coming out from both teams here. You know, a couple hiccups on either side, but ultimately CCK playing that slow, methodical game. You know, they're realistically, you know, they may have been able to get a good shove in that bot lane with the entire Zerg wave, opting not to do that. And then once they were able to pick up boss with that double beacon, I mean, there's no, you got to have a really tough time clearing that. You got to get to that boss early and start getting him down really quick. So kind of a tough spot to get back from here. But we did see that, you know, the Vala was able to put out some damage. Chromie was able to put out, you know, I expected with how late that game went a little bit more damage, but these teams really didn't fight a whole ton, you know, because of the split. That 4-man in the bot lane wasn't there, the 4v4. So let me see. I'm going to message the side of Cool Cats Kit and see if I can get a potential interview with our victors here. Captain is going to be... Hold on, I'm going to message him in Discord real quick. It's Beowulf. Yeah. Beowulf, the Hogger player, being the captain for Cool Cats Kitten. So I'm going to see if I can get him in potentially here for an interview with our victors. So hang tight, everyone. But keep it on the stat screen for you all, so you guys can continue to see what was brought up. You know, what each team was able to provide here in this second game. Awesome. Gonna get an interview. Let me find a good lobby to do this in. Get him here into lobby number 5. We're just gonna kind of hang tight, wait for him. Oh, there he is. Hello.
Whoa.
This is Beowulf, our Hogger player from Game 2. I don't remember what you played in Game 1, but our captain...
Hanzo. All about the double H's.
Oh, there you go. Coming in for a captain from Cool Cats and Kittens. GG's, well played. Yeah, how you feeling right now?
I'm feeling good. The team had a really great match and a lot of fun to play.
Awesome. Yeah, it looked like you guys were coming into this game when I can't remember. Let me look. You guys did not pick Garden of Terror, did you? It was the CCS that picked Garden of Terror. But you
I
guys
believe that's correct.
Yeah,
Yep.
but you guys came in, you drafted the Hanzo, you kind of drafted this defensive comp. They seem to have this like all in composition with the Gray May and the May, like everybody jump on the Chromie and try to blow her up. I mean, Chromie left open. That was a pretty standard first pick. If she's let through, get the Chromie. Once you saw that they went with the Gray May and the May, did that change your strategy that you were going to go with the Gromy, or did you like, hey, we were always going to run this Hanzo composition from the get go?
No, that was pretty much our plan. We had literally that comp in our practice warm up unranked draft match right before, and we were like, hey, they're taking us to Garden. We just played this comp on Garden and it did real well. Let's try to roll it out again, and it did real well again.
I was gonna
So
say, if it ain't broke, they'll fix it. It seemed like the big thing for that game, that entire series, no matter how the fights went, was you guys being able to take that bottom Merc camp, that 4-man Merc camp in the bot lane on the side of CCS. I think you guys, I think they got the first one, and then you guys never let them have it again. Was that the plan? Like you guys, once you got on a timer, whoever shot caller was like, "Hey, I'm gonna call every single time this camp's up, and we're just gonna invade every single time."
Yeah, I mean, we were calling camps, all the camps on the map. It was really just that one had the opportunity for us to get in there, and you got to see what that comp really can do in terms of clearing camps. We knew like, hey, if we have 2 seconds unattended, this camp is ours. So, they gave up vision a couple times too often, and we were like, hey, it's free, so we rolled in.
Hmm.
Um, so not that camp in particular. If they'd been on that side of the map, we would have been somewhere else. But we were always looking for the open camps.
Yeah, and it seemed like that the Hanzo, the Dragon Strike, was getting massive value on those camps because every time I went to that camp fight where you guys were there, it seemed you were just throwing down that arrow right on the camp and be like, "I dare you to step on it," kind of deal.
Yep. I'm gonna give you a hint. Anyone listening, stream, spoiler alert. Dragon Strike is busted. They overbuffed it by a huge amount. So 60 seconds to just vomit thousands of damage onto a big area. It's a scary thing. So yeah, I was just chucking it out. My team can attest. I was just yelling zoning dragons and hitting R.
Yeah,
So
and that seemed to be, at first I was like, interesting that you went with that ult since it didn't seem to have, you didn't necessarily seem to have the lockdown like the ETC or some other lockdown that you typically expect to like group everybody together and throw the dragon ult on top of it. But then after your first few ones, I was like, man, who needs that when you're using these dragon arrows or dragon strikes as efficiently as you are to just zone everybody off? I mean, they were terrified to go anywhere near, and you split up the team like half the time. They were always in a disadvantage because of that arrow coming through. Um, but so game one, everything kind of, you guys played a really good overall macro game. What were you guys thinking coming into game two? They elected to go for first pick. Was it always in the game plan like, hey, we're taking them to Braxis?
there was some debate, about where we wanted to go. We briefly thought about Infernal Shrines before we remembered that they're amazing on Infernal Shrines, and they kicked our ass last time we played them there. So we really just decided to pivot, and Braxis came up, and we felt pretty good about that. They read our plans though. They got a copy of our playbook somehow, and probably from playing us last season or looking at our logo and realized we were going for choke all.
It was getting
So
called out in chat too. People were just like, they're gonna do the thing, and I was like, what thing are they talking about? They're like, look at their logo, and I was like, oh yeah, they're gonna do the thing, and then it got banned out.
it was a sad day, but we had the pivot and it worked out in the end.
Yeah, I mean, a little rougher for the wares. It seemed like the throwing the Ariel and the Vala in the top lane threw you guys off your game a little bit, doing that 3-2 split rather than the standard 1-4. You seemed to
Hmm.
rotate the Uther up a couple times, and then the Zebo rotated up, and I think at one point the Gul'dan rotated up, and it just seemed like you guys couldn't quite figure it out. And then I don't remember like if there was a call about this fight, but you guys seemed to rotate up two members instead of one, and I think it was the variant just like man moded on top of the bottom one. You were actually able to pick up both objectives and hold them to finish off that first objective. Was it the plan for variant just to be like, I'm gonna stay here as long as I can because I trust that you three can beat Vala Ariel?
I think they had the Varian,
Oh, they did have the
in
variant.
that
You're
match.
right. It was Johanna that was
Oh,
standing.
Johanna, yeah.
Yeah, standing on the
Um,
the objective.
we definitely were thrown off in the rotations a bit. But yeah, it was really just a call to try to get the core of the team to stick together more. And really keep all of our damage in one place. Because what we realized when we were splitting off one of our damage dealers to go in one lane from the other one, we couldn't get any kills. We couldn't actually punch through the double healer or whichever healer they had on hand.
Hmm.
So yeah, that there was the call there to just commit, not necessarily to have Johanna stand on the point and save the day personally, but mostly to just keep things in a bigger clump, concentrate our fire, and get some kills.
Okay.
So
Uh,
when we have the fights.
Yeah, and I mean, eventually got to the point where you finally found a fight. I mean, the turning point of the game was Cooldown landing a massive three-man horrify on Vala, Ariel, and Lily, and pushing them all into your guys' team, and it just led to that first 5-0 ace. And it seemed at that point you guys were on the gas pedal and continue to hold the gas pedal up until and that's where my last question will kind of come from is you captured both objectives, had 100% Zerg wave going into a keepless bottom lane, and elected instead of pushing with it to kind of go grab a camp and back off. Was that just miscommunication going on, or was this like always the plan? Like, hey, we're just gonna wait until next boss comes online with the Zerg wave and then end at that one instead of trying to end with the massive Zerg wave going bot.
I'd like to claim that we did plan out this perfect top lane push. You were like, oh yeah, we're gonna get boss and push next time, and it's gonna be even better. But no, that was just a little miscommunication on our part. Um, just I was tunnel visioned a bit on the Zergwave bot. Didn't realize that we had taken tethered that camp in the top lane. Our tank had no resources, and we were like, oh, I've seen where these fights go when you try to force your tank in with no health or mana, and it doesn't end well.
Yeah.
So I made the call. I said we're going to pull off. We're not going to commit to that bot lane fight. Let's just get resources and restock.
Okay.
So yeah,
So I mean, the plan was hopefully to get it, but everybody just kind of wasn't quite on the same page, and so you're like, you know what,
yeah.
we'll just wait, and then we'll play like you
The
said.
call was get the camps and then go bot. And our tank player heard get the camp, so he did exactly that. He went and he got the camp, and none of us were paying attention to that camp. So yeah, just not totally on top of the comms, but
Yeah, I was gonna say
that's what the first match of the season is for, right? Eventually.
exactly. That's why we play the games. Get all those jitters out in week number one. But I mean, the jitters were few and far between. Outside of those few mishaps, it seemed like a very calm, concise, sorry, game coming out of you guys in this game one series. Able to again, as much as Braxis will let you, played a pretty good macro game on Braxis once you were able to start taking the opposing team's camps. So you guys just kind of out soak them up to that level 20, and then there's nothing they can do when you're grabbing boss at level 20 and they're level 19. So yeah, overall, congratulations on the win. Any shout outs you like to give? You guys had a good amount of fans here in the chat tonight. There's quite a bit of viewers coming out. So any shout outs you'd like to give for your team?
Well, I got to shout out my team themselves first and foremost. Great start to the season, guys. Really, really great stuff. I'm really proud of them coming together and executing so well on our first night back together. And then got to shout out the Cool Cats and Kittens fan club. We come from a diverse group of people. Everyone that came out though know they were going to get a great game and see some fun stuff, win or lose. That's what we promised. So
Hmm.
that's what we hope to deliver. So shout outs to them, shout outs to Harno, shout outs to anyone else in the running for the number one fan slot. Only the number one fan gets shout outs by name, by the way. So it's the Cool Cats and Kittens rule.
All right.
um but yeah, and shout out to our opponents too. Can't Connect Stuns, were always really fun to play them. Great team, part of the CCS family, who we just love to play with all those guys. And really happy to have them up with us in C West, so we can keep facing off against them.
I was gonna say this. I've seen it so many times, these week one matches, and then all of a sudden both these teams are back in the playoffs. So I fully expect you guys to have one more go at it this season for sure. But last question: who would you claim tonight would be your team MVP? Got to pick one.
Team
NGS requires
MVP.
you guys to pick. Well, it doesn't require, but suggests that you pick one.
Oh, see, I got to go back to my stats on this. I have a very, very scientific method for picking my MVPs, and it's who died the least. So we didn't have a lot of deaths overall, so I'm gonna have to go back and pick between my zero death players to see. But I'll go. I'm gonna anticipate Levidium. I don't think he died, and if not,
He didn't die on the Uther. I don't remember if he died game one or not, but he definitely didn't die on the Uther.
all right.
So
He's a provisional MVP. We'll find
provisional
out.
MVP. We have to put a star next to it until we can identify if he did die in game one or not. I do not remember off the top of my head, but awesome. Well, congratulations again, Beowulf, on your week one victory. More great things to come from the Cool Cats and Kittens. Hopefully, one day we will get to see the Cho'Gall come out. It was not this day. But thanks again for joining me here in the interview. Have a great rest of your evening, and we'll see you in week two.
Yeah. Thanks for the interview, and thanks for the cast. Really appreciate it. Have a good
Absolutely.
night.
My pleasure. Have a good night. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Beowulf from our winners of Cool Cats and Kittens. Congratulations to that team. Super excited to see what they are able to pull out here in the C division going forward. Going up against a pretty tough opponent. This was for how much fighting went on tonight. There really wasn't that many deaths. I think there was under like 25 deaths combined through both teams in both games, but it seemed like these teams were just scrapping all over the place. So, week one, pretty successful victory for that team. I'm really excited that week one is continuing here. I'm just looking at my schedule, seeing what more I have. I think most of the games for tomorrow night are actually picked up, and I didn't grab one. So, I don't think I will be casting tomorrow night. Take a little bit of a break, and then on Saturday, may try to pick up one of those matches on Saturday, Sunday. I will not be casting, and I was planning on doing a lot of casting next week, but had something come up, may not be able to do a ton of casting next week. We will see how that goes for the rest of the week. But as far as tonight, this has been ISX. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to drop a follow if you like the stream. I do a lot of these streams, a lot of casting for NGS. Doing a lot of the higher up divisions this season. Last season, I did a lot of the D and C divisions. This season, I'm going to be doing a lot more like the Nexus and the heroic divisions and the A's. Just trying to grab whatever I can, but make sure if you're loving HOTS action, you want to continue to watch, throw down a follow. I'll be sure to give you a couple more fun series like this. Hopefully, we get a couple that go the full distance game three. But that's it for me tonight. Have a fantastic evening, everybody. Hopefully, I run into you on the Nexus and get a couple games in. But if not, take care, and I will see you next time. Good night, all.